Beetlejuice. I saw this yesterday along with Never Let Go, and my review for Never Let Go is now on my channel, so you can watch this video first and then go over and check out my review for that. It's an in-depth video and it's a fun time, so please feel free to check that out right after this video. So let's go ahead and jump right into Beetlejuice. And I want to state right off the back, I am not a Tim Burton fan. I don't get it. Like, I don't get Tim Burton's style. It's so weird and bizarre and just over the top. And just there hasn't really been a movie of his that I have loved. Like, the only movie I can think of that I kind of like is maybe the 89 Batman and Batman Returns. But that's more of like a nostalgic factor, is I kind of grew up with those movies. They were like my first introduction to Batman. Or like, the first, series of Batman films that I watched as a kid. But then, yeah, besides that, I can't say I'm really familiar with Tim Burton's filmography. Just this is not really, a guy that I don't really get excited when I hear, a Tim Burton production, or anything like that. So I went into this film with the most a bare minimum of expectations. I have not seen the original Beetlejuice, and I know I'm already going to have, a lot of angry comments saying, saying you haven't seen Beetlejuice, you are not a true horror fan until you've seen Beetlejuice. What the fuck? I'm gonna have a lot of angry comments down there at the moment. But yeah, I haven't seen it. I've tried watching it a few times over the years. Just that film just doesn't click with me. Just I don't have a nostalgia feel towards that movie that a lot of people have. But then saying that, Beetlejuice is a household icon. Like, whether you've seen the movie or not, you have grew up hearing the name Beetlejuice or being in a conversation where Beetlejuice has been the main topic, or somebody's shown you a photo of Beetlejuice. Like, the movie has had a massive influence on cinema, and the movie still today is being held as an instant classic, as one of the greats of all time. So this is a movie that I feel like if you haven't seen it, heard you would have heard or seen images or clips from somebody. We've all met that one person who's just like a diehard fan and fanatic, and just, all he can talk about, is Beetlejuice. Like, I feel like we've all met that, that one person. And so, going into this film with knowing the basic outline of what Beetlejuice is you have to say his name 3 times, and then he pops into reality, causes some chaos. Like, I feel like we all know the basic outline of what the original film is. Like, if you haven't seen it, I know I'm probably in the minority at the moment by saying I haven't seen it, but what can I do? So, but jumping into Beetlejuice, this was a film. I went into this film really wanting to hate it. I was like, this is going to be, a boring movie. This is going to be bad. But what got me into watching this movie first was I had some family members who saw it a few nights before, and and they were like, yeah, this is actually pretty good. And so, I wanted to kind of, see for myself, and especially after hearing the overwhelmingly positive response online, and this film has been crushing it at the box office, I was like, maybe there's something behind this movie. So, I decided to, to give it the benefit of the doubt. It is October, so this film might get me into the Halloween spirit, and I'm happy to report this is one of the funnest experiences I have had all year. Like, this is such a fun movie. And this is one of the Tim Burton films where I feel like he gets away with the over the top because this is very much a world that lends itself to some, to some weird looking shit. And there's, I'm not sure if the afterlife was a big part of the first film, but the afterlife is basically the main focus of this film. Is you spend a lot of time in the afterlife of this film, and the production design, feels very much something like out of a comic book. Like it has this almost like outer space, you know, sci-fi, fantasy kind of, type look to it, and just, the world and the practical effects, on displaying the afterlife looks really good in this film. There is a worm that does pop out at one point in the film, which I felt like I did not like the way the worm looks. Like, I'm not sure if that's practical effects or if that's CGI, but there was just something very off to me, with, a few scenes in this film. And now the big thing, Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice, which I do have a story to go along with this. So he is in this movie, a lot more. He has a lot more to do in this movie, and he pops right back into this role. Like, Michael Keaton, is Beetlejuice. Like, since he is older, there's definitely not a lot of physicality that he can do with this role. Like, his voice definitely, some of the dialogue throughout the film, you're kind of questioning, like, well, what is he saying? Like, there's almost like this kind of muttering type sound to all of his dialogue, but that has nothing to do with Michael Keaton. That's just the way that his voice works, and he wouldn't be able to go as high pitch as I'm sure when he was doing the original film. And the acting in here is also really good as well. We have Jenna Ortega, who is a horror queen, and she is really good in this movie. She's basically our main character. She's the character that we follow all throughout this movie, and she gives a great performance. Same with everybody else in the film as well. And now I do want to talk about the comedy, because this has always been something that has always got on my nerves with Tim Burton's style. Is just his comedy always falls flat. And there's two jokes in this film that I can recall me laughing. But there's a lot of jokes in this film. Like, a lot of scenes are set up just to have a punchline at the end. And 9 times out of 10, the punchlines and the jokes in this film just don't work, minus a couple of chuckles. And one thing that I also, did really like, which, it sucks that this is a positive, but this is a film just that is really well paced. Like, I never felt the film was dragging. I felt the 2 hour runtime is very fitting for this film. Like, there was never a scene that, I felt like the film was always going at a progressive pace. And there is a lot going on in this movie as well. There's like 5, 6 different storylines going on, and I think the way that they all conclude, is for the most part really well done. There's definitely a few characters in here, one in particular that I won't get into, but there's one character that is on like a revenge path in this film, and she has like nothing to do. Like, the way they conclude her character is really bad. Like, she's there just so Beetlejuice can make a joke, and that's it. And I thought that was disappointing, because that was a storyline I was actually interested to see where it would go. but it starts and ends very quick. And I wouldn't say with this particular character, I wouldn't say that there is a particular storyline for her. Like after we are given her introduction and the flashback with her relationship with Beetlejuice, it's shots of her walking around a hallway for the entire rest of the movie up until the final 15 minutes of this film when she makes this big grand entrance and is like, I'm back. And then she dies. Like, what is what's the character development there? What was this character supposed to achieve in this runtime? So, there's definitely characters in here that I just don't know why they were in here. Like, I'm sure there's probably some legacy, connection to it. But, I felt like that was a storyline that they could have removed. Maybe it would have been no different. But even saying that, the idea behind this particular character and what her powers are, like if you've seen the film, you know what I mean. But she has this really cool ability, and there's definitely a few scenes where you see her utilize it, but just the story as a whole did not need her in it. And there's some cool stuff in here with the Soul Train as well. And yeah, there's some cool, creature designs, and there's some, I wouldn't call the film bloody per se, but there's definitely some, some intense scenes in here that might be, a bit too extreme for, for a younger audience. But, I, I enjoyed I enjoyed seeing the afterlife and seeing, a more kind of comedy, lighthearted, take on it, and just seeing like the whole operation kind of unfold. I thought that was very interesting in here. Bob, who I know is a returning character, I thought he was great in here. There's one relationship in the film. There's this love interest with Jenna Ortega and this boy, and I thought that was a very interesting storyline, but it's so quick. Like it concludes within about 15 minutes of it starting. Like it is so quick. Which that didn't really bother me so much in here because I could kind of see what it was doing for the story and what they kind of had to set up in order for what was to come in the film. So I wasn't so harsh on that. But really as a whole, just I had such a fun time. The film, kept my attention. I was entertained. I was laughing. I had a really just good experience with this film, and this film makes me want to go watch the original film now. And since it's October, you might expect a Beetlejuice review this year, which I'm excited to watch it for the first time. So let me know down below. Did you like Beetlejuice? Do you think it's better than the first one? Just let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. What is your ranking of these two films? Let me know all that down in the comment section down below, and I'll see you in the next video.